Morning, everybody. Oh, look at this. I got a full gallery in here. Okay, full disclosure. Wow, super group. Okay, full disclosure. We here in Colorado Springs have a 2 hour delay. So if you hear some chirping in the background, that is my kids because they got 2 hours of free time this morning. So just to let you know, um, those could be background noises, and I apologize. I don't know if anybody else got a snow day or a 2 hour delay today. Daniel, did you get a snow day up there?
Every day is a snow day, Andy Potts.
Speaking of snow days, we had some fun snow days at swim and ski camp.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, yeah, really good time at swim and ski camp. I thought that it was super valuable. I think we touched the water. Did we touch it 8 times?
Eight times in 4 days.
8 times. So we had like a welcome swim where we kind of had an intro on all the drills. Then we had 6 sessions where things were parceled out, and then we had a last minute a go day where there was a little bit of turning the screws. But in between all that, we had awesome snow, and I don't know if you want to take credit for it or not, Daniel, but when we get great snow, we look better when we host a swim and ski camp because the slopes are so awesome. It's like, oh yeah, it's always like this, but the snow is excellent.
Yes, it was. I can't take credit for that. But I'll give it to you. You did a great job bringing the snow, Andy. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, it does make us look better when we do have a major dump of snow. So,
It's the same
uh,
thing at our other camps when the weather's really good and you feel warm and you put in froyo to your face. It's a wonderful thing.
yeah, I do remember when there was, I want to say one camp, maybe 3 years ago, we had a send off day and it rained like this cold rain and people blamed it on, like, they didn't intentionally blame it on us, but it affects the way you feel about things.
Yeah, I mean
So,
that one year at Chula, we had rain 3 days in a row.
yeah, that kind of stunk.
Yeah, and we're gonna see what happens next week.
Maybe
What do you say?
was that 19, maybe?
No, I was like 21. I want to say.
Okay.
My
I
years are all messed up though, so I'm not sure.
don't think it was COVID.
Okay.
Okay.
It,
So, I will say, with that being said, when you do have difficulty with the weather, do you guys know the actor Michael Caine? He's a British actor. Um, and he was taught by his acting coach to, quote, use the difficulty. And I saw this video on it recently, and I thought it was really appropriate. So, when you have difficulty, whatever the setting may be, you need to use it for your the mentality to improve. So whether that's challenging conditions, um, whether it's an injury, it could be just a poor night's sleep. It could be you had a plan, but extraneous circumstances took it out of your control. So, how do you use that difficulty to get better at the task at hand? And whether that in getting better can be better with your patience, it can be better with your improvisational skills. It can be um, taking a 60-minute workout and making it valuable for 45 minutes. So, let's talk about the last one. When the time accordion crunch happens, how do you take advantage of the now existing time, which is truncated, to your benefit? Daniel, how do you like to lop off sections of a workout, which are there as intended? They have a real purpose, but what do you lop off to make sure you get the value and use the difficulty to your advantage?
Absolutely. Good question. So before that, I'm gonna take a step back real quick.
Okay.
And for all you guys, what happens when you things go bad or things aren't as expected is you have to draw upon your experience and your competency. And you gain competency by doing. No matter how much Andy and I tell you, you read, we educate. Competency comes from experience and repetition. So like when things go wrong on race day or in training, you can just roll with it because you can draw on that. For people that are just getting started in the sport, you just have to be a sponge to learn these things and keep on being aware. Like you don't mindlessly go through activities. So this is why, again, to digress again, why we don't like programmed workouts, because you're not a robot just doing something. You have to understand why you're doing it. So to Andy's question, if you get a workout and it's like, oh, I only have 40 minutes and there's a 60-minute workout, what do I do? Well, my experience tells me, and my body's telling me right now, some days maybe that's just a 40-minute warm up because my body can't handle the main set, right? Or maybe it's, okay, listen, I'm going to shorten the warm up a little bit, or I'm going to shorten the cool down a little bit. And in the main set, I know the work rest ratio is like 8-1. I can shorten the time of the interval. I can cut the intervals down a little bit just to make the time work. But the spirit of the workout, which is I have 30 minutes of work at a certain work to rest ratio, that's what I look for. And that's why I kind of cut it down. Is that in line?
I love it. I love it. Totally accurate. It's not just about the workout, reading the workout and getting it. So the intent is there. You have to know your body and know what the day holds and know what the previous 10 days were all about and the next 10 days are all about. So it's not a single set answer on what to do when the time crunch happens, but the more you experience it, hopefully you start to manage your time a little bit better. But if it keeps popping up, that's the telltale sign. But if it's a one-off, then it's like, okay, how do I be better here today? What's the intent? Where am I? And what's needed from me later today based on all the other things that are pulling at my attention and my time and my energy.
Yeah. I mean, to give you guys some numbers, an example, let's say you had a workout and it was like, I don't know, 4 times 12 minutes at zone 4, 2 minutes easy off. First of all, the off is easy. So that means like soft pedaling. A lot of people mess that one up. But you're like, I don't have that much time, right? So you could do two things. You can either say, okay, I'm still going to do 4 rounds, but I'm going to do it at 6 minutes at zone 4 and 1 minute at easy. Less work, right? But you get in the same number of intervals. Or you could say, you know what? I'm going to do 2 at 12 on, 2 off. Both of those maintain your work to rest ratio, and you're able to still do some work in the process. As an example.
There you go.
That makes sense, Betsy? Cool. All right. Dope. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. So that's good. I think that's a good start to things, Potts. Good kickoff. I like
Yep.
it. That was pretty good.
There we go.
It's
We
like
do
we
have
talked.
we do have a main topic for today, and we can jump into it. Do you want to do logistics first, or do you want to do the main topic
I
first?
don't have too many logistics, but I'll just go over like the overview stuff.
Yep.
If you have a question, just unmute yourself and ask, or if you're a little shy, you feel free to put it in the chat. It could be about something we're talking about. It could be about something team related. It could be about anything. Just please don't be shy, or be as least shy as possible, and that'll work. Um, Other logistics, team gear order went in. Um, we should have it in about 6 to 8 weeks based on Sparrow's timing. That should put everyone having their gear before their first races. Killer. Um, what else? Hat order. We still have that. What we're doing is it'll probably come in a couple weeks before the Sparrow order, and we'll just ship it out then as well. But you'll have those before your first races too. If you ordered a backpack, you'll see a refund in the next 3 weeks. It might be before that. We just weren't even close to the minimum on those. You'll get an email about it. And then after Chula Camp, we will open up our Precio, which is our running and casual wear store. Stuff is awesome. Quality's really high. It's reflected in the price a little bit. Sorry, but that's just what it is. We're passing it all through to you guys, but it's real nice. The cool thing about this, and this is why we're paying a little more too, is you can order onesies, twosies. So if it's July 15th and you're like, oh, I need a run top for an event, or I just ripped my something, you can just order it on your own. You don't have to wait for a team order, which is super sweet. Um,
So does that mean that the store
yeah.
stays open all year, or how does that work?
Stays open all year.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great for you guys, great for us.
Yep.
Um, Other logistics. We have Park City Camp still has openings, believe it or not. Majorca does too, but it might be far to go. We're gonna close Majorca probably end of February, and Park City will probably, my guess, sell out pretty close after Chula. That's usually what happens, but if not, we'll close it around February as well. You guys should come. That camp is going to be sick. It's the first year of it, just like first year of swim and ski camp. We'd love to get you guys together. Just a reminder. Uh, Team store password. I believe it is give me five with a capital G. Um, that the Precio store items like the run stuff will not be on there. Just so you know. It'll be on its own store, own site by itself. And I'll get that to you guys once we have it. Uh, People have been sorry, more logistics. People have been asking about partner discounts, partner stuff. I have a running spreadsheet that I can send out, but we will do. I was planning on doing it the first week in February, but it'll probably be after Chula. There's just too much for us to do that week, where we will announce a partner a day. We will offer a promotion for them, like a special one that's even better than maybe during the whole year. And we'll do like some sort of giveaway for them as well. We do this every year for anyone's been here before. If you haven't been here before, that's how we do it. And then as the year goes on, we will add more and more partners as they come along. As we mentioned before, it's kind of slow moving for this stuff for us because it's tied to Andy. So blame him, and but also thank him because most of the deals are because of Andy. Um, what else?
You want
Oh,
to do a quick hitter on who's on the list?
yeah, let me get to that 1 second. Uh, then the other thing we're gonna have, and it's only gonna be for the first week in February. For now, it might be a couple of times during the year. We're doing a 1 week promotion with Shields. If you don't know what Shields is, it's like a combination of Dick's Sporting Goods, Bass Pro Shop, and a Carnival, as a big box retailer and a bike shop. It's fantastic. And we're gonna do a 1 week, like you can buy any run shoes and stuff like that from them as well with a discount code so you guys could stock up if you need to for the year. That'll be the first week in February. We'll definitely do that February 1st to like 13th, I want to say. So 2 weeks. Um, and then so far on our list for the year, we got a few new partners that are going to be great. One is Shields, like I just mentioned. Uh,
Yeah, just real quick on Shields. Shields will be a it'll be category dependent. It We chose the running category to kick off the year. We're hoping that we'll do maybe one or two other coupons throughout the year in a different category, or if it goes really well and there's a high demand for more run gear, we'll go back to the run target. But it has to be, we have to pick a category for the discount,
and
and then
runs the best one.
and we decided run. So run would be shoes, apparel, run gear, run maybe even run tech. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Like maybe a sports watch. I'm not
No,
positive.
that's not going to fall under it.
No.
No, that's
Okay.
all.
Uh,
But
yeah. So hopefully
they're
we'll have
expensive.
another. Yes.
Stock up.
Hopefully we'll have another coupon in a different category later, but it will be a 2 week 1 week, 1 or 2 week window.
Yep.
And when it's out, it's out.
Yep. Other partners that are new for this year for you guys is I don't know if you saw at swim and ski camp, we had a race to the cup in the Ice Maze Melee, which was a guided, blindfolded race through an ice maze at our swim and ski camp, and you race to try and win a hydro flask. And so hydro flask is on board for us this year, which will be awesome. Their stuff is great. Metal's awesome. Just don't put it in the microwave. I learned that one the hard way. And then we're also working with a company called, I know Andy's super pumped about this one, Rise Coffee. They make canned coffee beverages, so you can throw them in your transition bags or in your bag before swim. And they make like an oat milk, a nitro. They make a bunch of good ones, and they're pretty healthier options too. One of them has protein in it too, I believe, which is sweet. Um, and then existing partners that you guys know about, Infinite, Diamond, ISM, Hyper Ice. We have a better deal this year. It's going to be so much easier to work with. For all you guys, you just go on their site. Hoob. Oh, super important for all us triathletes out there, especially the people that aren't Zwifting all the time, is Zelios sunscreen. You got to wear your sunscreen. So a few more on the list as well. Um, if you have questions, and if you guys ever need anything, you can just ask as well. We're usually pretty good at taking care of things people need. Yeah, that's what I got for logistics. Any questions? Thumbs up. What do you think, Sarah? Are we doing good here or what? Yeah, we are. Sweet. All right. Potts, let's talk about the topic of the day.
Okay. Just
Uh,
checking
no questions. I'm looking at it. I got you.
okay.
Luis, you are right, though. Rise Coffee is wonderful.
Okay. All right. So the topic of the day is strength training. All right. Every year, first month or two, we get um, hit up for strength training plans. And we definitely we coach our coaches, and we have the bandwidth and the mentality and we can program strength training. But what does it mean? How do we do it? When do we do it? And what do we do? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today with strength training. Okay, let's kick it off with should you strength train? Yes, you should. Where does it fall on the priority list? All right, there is the kicker. So, what I'd really like to see is the priority be, especially in this time crunch world, the demands on the sport of, with the sport of triathlon, all the other things pulling at your time. When you, it helps to have a priority list. It helps to know in advance the default, so it's not a guessing game in something that's pulling at your heartstrings and your emotions when you can or can't fit something into your day. Life happens, right? So I would put, yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah. So when you guys are thinking your priority list, a good way to manage it, and we talk about this all the time, is consistency in your routine. So take your priority list and create a consistent routine. If you're on Monday in the morning biking on this week and strength training in the midday and then trying to do something else at night, and then the next week you're doing it opposite, like things change. But routine, what is it? We always talk about the Kobe Bryant quote, Potts, right?
Yes.
Um, the decision to do the workout is already been made. You eliminate the barriers, you eliminate the need to think about it, you just operate. Because once you have to think about it, you start to negotiate, you start to say, "Oh, well, I don't have the time," and then it drags on. How many people is like, "Ah, I don't know," start talking about it, and then they never do it. So eliminate those things by creating routine the best you can, and then use your priorities to get there. So, Andy, what's your priorities? What?
uh, when
Yeah.
it comes to triathlon.
No, don't, no.
Okay, so when it comes to triathlon, um, I would say for me, I have a different priority every season when it comes to ranking in the hierarchy of the disciplines. And then within the discipline, I have a priority list. So um, when I was first starting out, it was how do I eliminate my weaknesses and race to my strengths. So I continued to press really hard and train really hard in the water. So my race would start when I jumped on the bike. And then on the bike, it was how do I get better, more efficient, more powerful? And then on the run, it was, okay, how do I go back to a strength and try to influence and affect the race in the second 5K of a 10K or the second half of a race on the run. Because that's when most people falter, and that's where I can use my physiology and my training to my advantage. As the years progress, priorities change, the demands for excelling at racing changes. So whatever you're coming into the game with, if it's a strength, I would recommend you keep it a strength, and then we train away the weaknesses. So that might be something different for everybody. As the professional race has changed a lot, if you can't ride your bicycle at a world-class level, you can't play in the game. So I had to focus on my riding. My riding became my number one. And oddly enough, I don't know how that worked, but it became better. What? That's so weird.
Weird.
Super weird. So my biking actually got better than my swimming and better than my running, as evidenced through like the pecking order and what I was able to do on a bike, not in terms of either separation, solidifying a lead, salting away a race, or bridging any gaps that may have happened on a swim. So, or tactically in the race. So, and then now it's become, if you don't have a full game of swimming, biking, and running at a near world-class level, you can't play. So try not to have any holes. So I can't tell you what your priority should be, but if you go with the mantra of racing towards your strengths, training away your weaknesses, that should set up your priority list. Then you supplement those priorities with strength training. Most people don't walk into a triathlon and say, well, I can deadlift 500 pounds, so the swim's taken care of. You tell me if I'm wrong. Is that right?
No, you're right. I mean, you're right. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I did
So
45 pull-ups today. I could definitely rip the bike. Like, no problem. Got this.
right. But how can a 500-pound deadlift, how can 45 pull-ups, how can that enhance your game?
Yeah.
That can go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, guys, from a lot of years of talking to a lot of age group athletes, a lot of the conversations we have turn around a lot of times like, hey, how was your bike today? Oh, I couldn't bike. I had to get my nap in, or I was in my Normatex working on my recovery, or, well, I lifted today, so I couldn't get my run in. And those things are really important. They're going to enhance what you do, but they're supplemental. They don't work if you don't do the other things. And I'm sure, Andy, you're going to get into this now too. They're complementary, not supplement. So you don't do the same thing. So if you go out to the gym and you're doing, 15 by, I don't know, whatever, 15 reps of, I don't know, a freaking bench press or a curl or even I don't know, squat. It's not actually doing what you need, because they have to be different. You already get enough muscular endurance, and you get enough, like, what's the word? You get enough, muscular endurance is really what it is from your biking and swimming and running. You don't need that in the weight room. There are other things you might need, like Andy, you're going to go into it. I'm sure you can talk about like more of the powerlifting mechanism and everything else. You might need mobility. You might need foundational strength to start, but then you have to get into these other types of training that's complementary. And that's really how you got to think about it. So Andy, go on how to be complementary.
Okay. Nailing it, Daniel. Nailing it. So with all that preamble, when do we do it? It really matters. Okay. Again, like I led off with, I love strength training. I love being in the gym. I think it's enough of a different stimulus to keep my mind engaged and my body actually once I understand the sets and reps and the purpose behind them, and having them complement my strength endurance work on the swim and the bike and the run, then I get an enhanced benefit and I can focus on a smaller task at hand. Now, all this being said, we talk about time management. And my wife said to me a couple of years ago, she was like, hey, has time management became, it's hard. It's definitely hard. But she was like, I think, she goes, I know you manage your time really well, but how are you managing your energy? You need to worry about, I think there are enough hours in the day for doing what you want to do. Every minute is accounted for, but manage your energy. How is your energy? So we started kind of shifting that talk towards managing your energy, and you can enhance your energy, but as you get stronger, you can handle more, but you have to be able to have a foundation for that. So when you should do, let's go with, this is not in any kind of structured way, but we've got when you should lift. I like lifting after you do the main thing of the day. Okay. Keep the main thing. Then we use this complementary workout with strength training after. If you do your the secondary thing first, you're gonna have more energy, more focus, and then your main thing it detracts from your main thing. So I like doing it after. I specifically will program my strength training after either an interval run or a long run. Go ahead.
AP, isn't there something in physiology where like if you do contracting muscle movements, like lifting, it can have a negative effect on your like the movements that create elongation, such as running and biking and things like that?
I don't know the answer, but what I do know is if you've fatigued a certain fiber type and then you go and try to challenge a different fiber, you can convert it into the previous fiber.
Oh,
So like if you have 2A fibers and you want to make them more 2B, then you go and exhaust your 2B and you start to put a demand on all the 2A fibers,
yeah.
and then they start transitioning into more 2B. So if you need more endurance fibers, you can pull from your type 2A to get faster.
Gotcha.
And then when you think about contractions, you do have an all or nothing phenomenon that only works under a load, and you cannot fake it. So if the load isn't high enough, you won't get recruitment. You have to put your body under strain to time under tension. Now you have to put the tension first, then you add the time. So if you don't get the tension high enough, the time under semi-tension, that phenomenon doesn't really work. Okay, the tension has to be there first, and then you focus on the time under tension. So when you should do it, you should do it after a primary workout. Like I said before, I do it after an interval run or an interval or a long run. You can also do it after a long ride or an interval ride. If you're swimming second in the day, you can always do it then too. If you are, I think you guys understand what we're saying here. If you're saying, oh, I've got an hour and a half in the morning, I'm just going to strength train. Oh, wow. Okay. So you better be maximizing that rest of the day. So let's make smart choices on when to do it. All right. Where it sits on the priority list. We hit this one. It sits fourth after swimming, after biking, after running, because it's a complement to each of the three disciplines. You can enhance each discipline with the right approach in the weight room. What's the right approach in the weight room? Always the number one movement or number one idea behind going into the weight room is move well. If you can't move well, we can't put you under a load and therefore get tension in your body. If your body physically can't get into the position, well, we need to work on mobility. And that's where mobility will trump stability or strength training. We need to get you moving well first. Then, when we get you into the strength phase, in the strength movement, there is the right patterning for those movements. Okay.
And that's where you'll see a lot of our coaches that when we work with you in strength training, we start with mobility and we start with basic functional movements and non-weighted movements to make sure you can move properly. Because like Andy said, then you go under tension, you go under load. And if you're not moving well before that, you're in trouble and you can't actually reap the benefits of strength training properly.
Correct. Last two hitters here on why you should strength train. Why I love strength training is, and we touched on this, is to complement what we're trying to achieve swimming, biking, running, or swimming, biking, or running. So when we complement those, we are working. We're trying to build a skill set that enhances moving well. And we work on a lower sets and reps weight with key movements. And some movements, we still have high reps, low sets, but high reps. And there's levers, you're pulling different levers, you're kind of pushing different buttons to get the right stimulus. When we're working with really small muscles that can't be directly targeted through swimming, biking, running, but definitely enhance them, like how do we sit better in an arrow position? Well, if you're strong through the shoulder girdle and you have a strong spina erector set, then you can hold the body position better if you have good core. So then with those muscles, we'll do activities like YTWLs, planks, hollow holds, band raises, cords, things of that nature to build a smaller muscle set in a high rep fashion. Then we look at major muscle motor patterns. We go under heavy load. What are those movements? They're really basic. There's not a ton of mystery here. We're looking at squats. We're looking at deadlifts. We're looking at lunges. We're looking at step ups. We're looking at RDLs. Anytime we do an Olympic lift, like a snatch or a clean and jerk, when you're putting the weight above your head, if you don't have a history in lifting, we're going to kind of, the risk reward on those lifts is pretty high. High risk, low reward. We can get there in a different, safer way in terms of strength building without the compromise in the risk. So just like investing, right? We're going to try to invest in the things with the highest return, the highest return movements, specifically when we talk about running. What's the highest lift with the biggest return gain?
Hex bar deadlift.
Hex bar deadlift. Okay. So we work on the dead, right? And that'll be the focus. Just like when you have a swim workout, bike workout, run workout, you got a main set. In the lift, why would that be any different? It wouldn't. So we program lifts. So if the main goal of the day is to enhance our deadlift, because we know that there's a direct correlation between a watts per kilo in a dead to your power running, then we are going to enhance that and work on it.
So AP, two things. Everyone wants the shortcut, which there isn't one, or the short sound bite, so to speak, right? Assuming we have good mobility,
Right.
our body can move well, right? What are your top 5 lists? And I'm gonna preface this one more time. For me, I always focus posterior chain. That's where if I don't have time, that's where I focus. So posterior chain is most important. It's the biggest bang for your buck. And it's also best for determinant of performance in the sports that we do. So
Right.
top five movements, given all those things we just said were a given.
Yep. All right. Top 5 movements. Here we go. Deadlift, number 1. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to go with the squat. And specifically on the squat, I'm going to go the front squat.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm going to go front squat because you can dump it. And if you don't move well, you can get injured on a back squat.
Yep.
So we take the movement well out of the equation and we go with a front squat. Now, if you really don't like front squats, I might give you a Smith machine squat. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, for anyone that has, I call it below the knee flexibility and mobility issues, you can, because I know about this, you can help yourselves on squats and deadlifts by using heel risers. And so you can still move well. They're really, really great for people with below the knee mobility, flexibility issues. That doesn't count against I can't do this because I can't move well. Yes, you can still work on it, but you can help yourself.
Yep. And what they really do is they keep your back they help keep your back from being compromised.
Yeah, and
That's
your
heel
hip
rise.
pretty good.
Yep. Okay, so I'd say I go dead, go front squat, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say like I'm gonna go another lower body one. I like a a Bulgarian split squat. For me, is excellent because it's single leg driven. It really helps your running because you on the plant phase and the stance phase. There's a lot of eccentric contraction that happens, which means you're taking more than your body weight. And you have to eccentrically load it. And then you have to develop and go concentric, which means you squeeze the muscle. Eccentric means like you take the muscle from a squeezed position and you lengthen it. And it's a lot harder to do. You fatigue slower, but it's a lot harder to do using eccentric movements.
Prefer that to the pistol squat?
Oh, pistol squat's excellent,
Yeah, it's
but I do
okay.
prefer because it translates better,
Running.
or it has a to cycling and running,
Yeah.
right? And yeah,
And it's a difficult movement, but it's easier than a pistol squat too.
the pistol squat requires a fair amount of assistance
Yes.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then you got multiple movements within the pistol squats with like how you can use the opposite leg.
Yep.
Very challenging, excellent movement. It was just programmed in. I have like 18 athletes that we're working with in this one subgroup, and it was just programmed for all of them to do pistol squats. They all had to use a fence or a rope or something to hold on to at the beginning. But by the end of at the end of the 4th week, they could do at least 2. Everyone could do 2.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I think that
Which
was
is great.
four, right? We need one more.
Yep, 4th one. Okay, 5th one. I'm gonna go. So I really, you're gonna make me. No, that was those 3.
Okay,
3.
that's
I've got 3 that I gotta pull out one. I really like pull-ups. I really like dips, and I really like push-ups. Okay, so I'm gonna go pull-ups. I'm gonna go push-ups,
yes.
and here's why. Sometimes when you do a dip wrong, it puts your shoulder in the compromised position. If you aren't moving next to your body, if you have your hands behind you, which most people will like to do like a bench dip and they put their hands behind themselves. And dips sometimes are harder to find a resource for, right? So if you have a door frame, you can do a pull up, and if you have a floor, you can do a push up. There's so many variations to the push up that I like a ton for building chest power, and like the anterior movement, and then for the whole back, I really like the pull up.
Yep.
And if you can't do a pull up, we go with like where you hold your chin up and then you just do a 5-second descent. The eccentric contraction on the pull up. I really like those. So those are my 5. If you're going to sneak in a 6th, I'd say dips.
Yeah. I like that list. That's a really good list. What do you guys think? Is that a good list for you guys? Yeah, there we go. And again, that's prefaced with you can move, you have mobility and flexibility, and when you get to the gym, you can do these movements well. Going back to what Andy said, big muscles typically mean big weights. Small muscles mean small weights and more reps. It's an easy way to remember it. If you were to, again, go to do 20 squats, it's doing the same thing as riding your bike or riding your bike up a hill. It's the same thing. You're just adding more. So I think that the sound bites, if you need them, complementary, not supplementary, big muscles, big movements, little muscles, lots of reps. Sound good? Yeah, Betsy, TRX is fantastic. It's really good. Like Andy was just saying, pistol squats. It's really great for that. When you're doing a lot of your mobility stuff or just basic functional movements to get your body prepped and ready for weights, awesome. I use TRX most days still, like as like a warm up or cool down as well. But again, most TRX movements, not all of them, most of them though, they're only weight like you're weight bearing, right? And it even removes some of that. So it becomes more of an endurance activity, like a muscular endurance activity, and it's not a strength activity. And if you're into that phase of your training, you don't need more strength train. You don't need more endurance training. You need more strength training. Make
But I
sense?
do like the TRX. Let's say you can't do a pull up, you can do
Yes.
a pull in. I like if you want to take an elevated push up movement where you get the hands past the body. That's pretty challenging on the TRX. And then Bulgarian split squats on the TRX. Get the rear leg elevated in an unstable environment. It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's the next level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really good.
Okay. So I think we hit most of the things that we wanted to talk about with strength training. Hopefully that was helpful. Complimentary. I guess one of the last thoughts, and you can think about this with strength training, but ultimately, when you keep the main thing, maybe this thought can permeate into your thoughts when you are challenging yourself. And that is on the bike and the swim and the run in the main set. You don't necessarily have to push the same numbers that you've pushed in the past to get better, depending on when and where and what you're doing. But if the underlying theme is, if you can take away metrics and you just go with this internal thought or feeling that you're getting, let's have the overwhelming thought be, if it doesn't challenge me, it doesn't change me. I have a feeling that you guys want to get into this to change where you currently are, to try to get better. And that change can happen, but it doesn't happen without challenges. So if it's not challenging you, it's not changing you. And that can be the overriding mechanism that you go with, whether you're swimming, biking, running, lifting. Seeking improvement comes through strife and hard work and overcoming obstacles. All of those things are challenges. And hopefully they change you for the better. And that's what we got this morning for you guys.
Well said, Mr. Potts. Does anyone have any questions, thoughts, comments about anything we talked about today? Okay. Okay. Should we make it an awkward silence? Hey.
That's what we got.
Yeah, last thing for you guys is we sent out a link to the team calendar. Please fill out your race schedule, because if you don't do that, we can't have team races. As we've mentioned before, the way we do this is we figure out the races where we have cumulative mass of people, and then we will either set it up where Andy, myself, one of our staff members are there hosting things, or we organize you guys so you can do it on your own. But we can't do that if we don't know where you're going to be. So please fill it out. We will send out another link for that as well.
Okay, I got two hitters.
Yeah.
As well, two hitters have to do with camp. There is space at Park City and Mallorca, like Daniel had mentioned earlier. We'd love to see you in either place, Mallorca or Park City. We do have fun calendar of events. for both, and that would be awesome. I think Park City is going to be an awesome time. It should fall in a really good place for the summertime in terms of setting up fall Ironman, fall 70.3 racing, and even fall nationals to qualify for USAs. So, or the World Championships. So, love to have you sign up for that. And then we do have a preliminary. Do you want to? The swim and ski was a resounding success. So we talked about preliminary dates for next year. Because this year people took off Thursday, Friday, and Monday from work, there's still 3 days. So we thought maybe we can have a cleaner slope if we go Sunday through Wednesday.
Yeah, Thursday
morning.
So what it'll do is, there will be no people on the mountain for people, so no crowds and traffic. More space to train at the facility, which is great. And the other thing is, we'll give people an option for an extra day of skiing. So it adds a day for people if they'd like to ski, which is awesome sauce. Yeah, that's what we got. So we'll be sending that out in a couple of weeks. It'll only be open first to people who came this year.
Yeah.
Oh, and this camp does have a limit. Maximum is 16 people for this camp. So it'll go out to them first because they took a chance on us. So we'll reciprocate back, and then it'll open to you guys next, and then I doubt it'll make it. Then it'll go to the general public. So let's go.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a good rest of the month. If you're coming to Chula, we'll see you in about a week.
Yeah. It's gonna be sick.
Wait, in a week?
6 days, bro. 6 days.
We're gonna be riding outside, SoCal. Yeah. Let's go. See you guys.
Twos.